Naku po, tauhan ni Marcos Jr. Ginisa sa Senado. Puro kasi kayo pamumulitika. Naku po, hindi na nga nakapagpigil itong si Senator Marcoleta at si Senator Ligarda, mga kababayan. Nga, buljakin itong mga tauhan ni Bongbong. At Gatchalian kabayan ay natameme na lang. Naku po, eto, panoorin natin.
Excuse me, hindi po nag-break ang Senado na hindi inaaksyonan ang hinihiling ng executive. Dalawa ang inyong hiningi. Excise tax, napasa namin. At sabihin nyo on the record, kailan nyo mai-implement yan at ang gulo ninyo. Sinabi nyo, excise tax, kailangan urgent. Nung napasa namin, sinabi, we will see. Yan, galing sa inyo yan ha, kung gagamitin. Tapos, the next day, o sige na nga. Ano ba? Ano ba? Binabanggit po ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno, yung mga plano. Importante po, it is done in record time. At ang pinakamahalaga ay alamin magkano ba ang continuing appropriations sa GAA 2025 na maaring gamitin ngayon sa krisis. Pangalawa, ano ba ang nakaprovide sa GAA 2026 na pwedeng gamitin para sa krisis na ito? Huwag na tayo lost in translation or nagmamaang-maangan na may krisis. Until we define it as a crisis, we will not act in record time to save our people. So, each agency represented here must act as if we are in a crisis because we are in a crisis. Anybody who says, chill lang tayo, wala namang krisis. No. Halintulad ko sa climate crisis. Not now. If we never admit there's a climate crisis, we will not take care of our climate and environment. If we do not admit that there's a crisis in the Middle East affecting our OFWs and their families, affecting the prices of our petroleum products, energy, food prices, transport, and displacing millions of Filipinos, the agencies will not act with urgency. And so that is what I put on the table. And what I would like to hear, Mr. Chair, is magkano ang pondong available? Hindi promise ha, hindi saro na walang NCA from continuing appropriations in GAA 2025 and how much was appropriated, because of course we did not know there was going to be a crisis, of soft, meaning assistance to fisher folks and farmers, contingency fund. The N-Dream Fund can be used. Hindi naman yan lang sa bagyo. Yan ay pwede rin gamitin. But if we have appropriated it in GAA 2026, may pera na ba? And I know we don't have money yet because even DPWH projects are all FLR. So DBM must explain that as well. So every agency, whether agriculture, or DMW, or DOE, Dole, yes. How do we cushion the impact? I lay that as my premise, Mr. Chair, and you being the chairman of the Committee on Finance, because we can have all these PowerPoints, pero pag kumakalam ang tiyan ng mga mangingisda, ng mga drivers, ng mga sa transport sector, ng lahat, ang dating middle class ay ngayon lower class na at hirap. So gusto natin makita ang pag-translate ng mga PowerPoint na yan na ginawa sa mga air-condition na tanggapan into actual jobs created, actual food on the table of every affected Filipino family. And I will ask, I need to know the answer. Dapat to on the ground ha, on the ground, hindi tayo parang budget hearing tapos prospective. Paliwanag ng DTI, paliwanag ng DA, paliwanag ng DOE, paliwanag ng DBM, ipaliwanag ng lahat kung paano at ilan ang mapapakain natin. Kamukha sinabi, 40,000 farmers and fisher folks ang matutulungan ng subsidiya. Alam naman ng expert natin sa agrikultura at fisheries, hindi lang 40,000. Yung iba, hahayaan na lang natin mamatay o magutom. That's my opening statement pa lang at gusto ko malaman ang maliwanag on the ground na kasagutan. At isa pa, Mr. Chair, sigurado akong natanong mo na o tatanungin mo. Anong mga pondo sa 2025 ang hindi nagagamit na pwedeng wag na ito? Ano sa 2026 na tatawagin nating, I'll call a spade, luho na travel, party-party, cancelin lahat yan. At paano yung pamamaraan na ikalap yung pondong yan para ibigay hindi lang sa piniling 40,000 na magsasakat mangingisda, lahat. At lahat ng mga drivers, lahat ng mga apektado sa krisis na ito. And I bring it back to my first statement. We must first admit that there is a crisis for us, for all of us, to act with urgency. And we must admit that it can't be the usual way things are. And everybody in government, especially in the executive, must admit on regular times you are slow, painfully slow. And the DBM knows this. And we know that because we've been doing the budget for decades now. Your utilization, your implementation is so slow, with the exception of some agencies like DSWD. I think SecRex is the only cabinet member. When I call half a ring, he answers. And he's quick, he's on the ground, he knows what's happening. I wish everybody could emulate that. Yung iba nagatago. So having said that, Mr. Chair, I did not want to deliver a motherhood opening statement. I want to hear from DTI, how will you lower the prices of basic commodities? I want to hear from the DOF and BIR and DOE and ERC. How will you delete the collection of VAT on those that are not supposed to be vatable? And I hope you know what I'm talking about. You better be prepared. That's my opening statement, Mr. President. This applies to everyone, all the resource persons who are here. I hope to receive the answers in the next few minutes or hours. Thank you, Mr. Chair. In asking that no less than the cabinet level should be here. Kung nandito ang SFA, bakit hindi yung iba? You're too busy? Is this not the most important thing? Admit there's a crisis. You must have a crisis action plan. And not that we don't appreciate the presence of a dear friend, Yusek Wimpy Fentabella, of course, who's very competent, who's been with the DOE for quite a while. But to give it the importance, if SecRex and Sec T. Laurel could be here, why should the DOE secretary be exempted from this? When
DBM is here.
DBM is here, pag kayo and NEDA, pag kayo ay humihingi ng mga budget ninyo, maski overnight, nandyan kayo. Pero pag crisis action plan, marami kayong dahilan. The Senate will not allow that. Unless you are not admitting that we are in a crisis situation. Then you're lost in translation o nahihibang. Because everyone must act as if we were an ICU situation. That's how it should be. Not to enrage the people and not to let the people panic. But on the contrary, if they see the government on the ground and having more than what the chair mentioned, so-called motherhood statements, not just curated PowerPoints. We want to see your action plan. How many people, families will be positively affected, if any? And what are the monies, the funds needed for continuing appropriations? And what are the line items in GAA 2026 na pwedeng ikalap maging savings para ito ang gagamitin? Tapos sasagutin ng DOF at ng DBM saan manggagaling ito considering 2.5 months pa lang at aminadong wala pang pera ang gobyerno. Pinapaasa ang mga tao tapos walang ibibigay. Hindi pwede yon. Tapos wala pa ang ibang kabinete dito. Pag sa ibang bagay, mabilis pa sa alas 4. Pero sa krisis, wala. Ano ba kayo? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Yusek Sales.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that's the outline for today. We'll cover the 6 areas, hopefully very quickly. In the end, we will have a recommendation for specific legislative asks to enable the contingency program, especially the Tier 3 that we'll present. Next slide. This is the current situation. So beginning this Tuesday, there's another increase. So the left panel is the range for diesel. We're showing diesel because this is itong pinaka-importante day-to-day fuel natin. So ang range natin ngayon ay 105 pesos to 134 pesos sa pump price. These are going to be yung prices sa Metro Manila sa highly urbanized areas in the Philippines. No, ang adjustment reflected on the pump is 13 to 18 pesos po. Ang DOE nag-signal ng breach ng ating $80, actually umabot ng 89.02 nung nakaraang March 13 po. And we'll have a short slide on why. Baka hindi na ito angkop na trigger yung Dubai. Ginamit namin sa analysis 59.50 but we all know that has now moved to 60. So maliit pa lang. Next slide. So this slide shows yung ating current inventory as of Friday, March 20. Yung dark blue, this chart is in days po. And iba-ibang produkto nandiyan po, diesel, gasoline, LPG. So yung dark blue are actual stock in country. So sa diesel may 46 days. This is based on our average utilization, daily utilization. Yung light blue color po, yan po ang nagre-represent ng physical limit ng ating storage tanks in country. So pag tinignan nyo, medyo malapit na tayo sa tank tops ng diesel at gasoline. This takes into account yung nabili na, nasa dagat na at papunta na sa Pilipinas. Confirmed in transit orders. So, in terms sa international standard po, sa IEA, 30 days po ang suggestion ng International Energy Association. In fact, all our products are above that. Ngayon, ang hindi lang LPG. So, we're looking especially into the case of LPG. Dito po sa slide na to, kasama na dyan yung unang na-order ng PNOC Exploration Corporation, about 138,000 barrels of diesel. So, ang sunod namin tinitingnan actually is yung ating LPG at yung jet fuel. Yung fuel oil po, karamihan dyan ay for generators na natitira na lang. Next slide. Ito po yung basehan kung bakit baka kailangan natin palitan yung ating trigger na Dubai Platts na nasa batas. Simply put, sa oil trading may Dubai Platts, dyan po nakabase ang presyo ng produkto. And ang tinatawag technically is yung crack spread. Kung ang produkto, Dubai Platts, no March 9 ay 125 from 71. Ang diesel, per barrel po ito, sumirit ng $184 per barrel. In graphical view, yan po yan. Yung diesel maps ay yung parang orange na pula. Yung Dubai Platts, yung blue. yung diferensya sa dalawa, yan ang tinatawag na crack spread. Nung nagumpisa po ang kaguluhan, makikita natin na lumapad yung spread. Dati ang spread niyan is mga $15 to $20 per barrel. Nung nagumpisa po ang gera, umakyat ito at kasalukuyan just above somewhere $60 po ang crack spread. So, nagdi-devise na ngayon ng DOE na palitan, magmumungkahi na palitan yung ating trigger kasi hindi siya akma sa galaw ng presyo ng produkto. Lumalabas pagka ganito nagkakaroon ng gulo. Next slide po. Nagpadala po ng 5 senaryo, different price levels. Pero may konting mismatch kasi itong binigay ng mga scenario levels ay Dubai average over a period of time. We try to match it dun sa actual na maps po ito at malaking impluensya yung crack spread. So based on that, ang tingin ang evaluation ng DOE is actually nasa scenario 3 na po tayo na binigay po ng committee. So, scenario 3, lumalapit na po tayo sa scenario 4. And precisely why we think that it's more appropriate now kasi parang lumalabas yung trigger na huli. When in fact, kung na-redesign natin yung trigger to something more appropriate now, like basing it on maps and yung appreciation, maybe yung trigger mas maagang dumating. Kasi yung trigger dumating March 13 po nag-release because Dubai plots ang nakalagay. Pero when in fact 2 days after, kung nasa maps ang trigger, na-trigger na po natin.
Anong dapat ginawa? Or anong dapat gawin? Anong pumungkahin nyo?
Well, we're doing a policy note on changing the trigger, hindi po nakaano sa Dubai plots. Ihahalo natin yung takbo ng MOPS, which is the mean of Platts Singapore, on the products, diesel, gasoline, and kerosene po.
This problem has been ongoing for several weeks. And you're saying that hindi po nabago. Ano po ang dapat gawin ayon sa inyong mungkahi at ganong katagal bago nyo mabago para akma
We will,
sa panahon?
yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We will be presenting for legislative action po yung pag-change ng trigger. Nasa batas po kasi yung trigger.
Kung batas po yan, kung batas po yan, kung paano ko lang batas, tanong ko, nabigay na ba nyo sa Senado at sa Kongreso yung bill? Pangalawa, na-certify ba ng urgent? At kung hindi pa, anong sense of urgency ninyo sa DOE kung sinasabi nyo sa hearing na ito na kailangan may batas na ganito,
Mr. Chair.
legislation? Number one, are the draft bills in both houses of Congress, have they been referred to the appropriate committees? I did not see a certification of urgency by the Office of the President. If you seem to say, sir, that this is very urgent.
Mr. Chair, if I may, we did realize this when the situation unfolded as shown on the graph. So you would see that it's a fairly constant 20, and then when the crisis happened, the market reacted differently now. The spread was increasing very fast, and in fact, we already issued based on the $80 the certification by the DOE. So with this realization, we said that we need to change because with what has recently happened, we need to change the trigger probably to make it more reactive to situations like this. Also, we are going to be seeking approval for the supplemental budget for PNOC. The request has been passed to the Committee on Energy Chair in the House, I think. So we want to activate yung funds ng GOCC natin to be able to address yung inventory natin in country to keep it at a healthy level. So there's more there. But,
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
follow up lang, magkano yung supplemental budget na hinihingi nyo for PNOC?
I think yung initial request, if I'm not very sure, but it should be 8 billion to 10 billion. And this is not funds from the national government. That those are funds in the PNOC, but needs congressional action in the budget para ma-release, magamit.
Well noted. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Just to place on record, the National Oil and Gas Contingency Plan was in place in 2023. We were using the previous plan 2002, but it was also based on the 1973 experience of the Philippines. So, siya po yung pinaka-senior na nandun na noong 1973 po.
Mr. Chair, the congressional approval is needed based on the answer to the question of Senator Ontiveros. So, has it been communicated to both houses?
I think a letter was submitted to the committee chairs, but naka-break po ang...
Kasi po, we were willing to go on special session. May we know, number one, no GAA funds needed. It's with PNOC, and all it needed was congressional approval. And bicameral, ang dali naman. Isa lang na araw yan. May I know, kailan po binigay ng DOE sa Senado, kailan natanggap yung sulat, kailan binigay sa atensyon ng leadership at ng chair ng komite? May we know? I mean, this is what I mean eh. We act with urgency. It's not a matter of walang pondo. May pondo, it came from DOE's information, congressional approval. So it doesn't take too much if it's an urgent matter. We were able to pass the excise tax, and to be fair to the chair, kaagad nagtrabaho at napasa po namin. So kailan po ito?
Yeah, PNOC is here, Mr. Chair. Initially, itong first two cargos actually, merong releasable fund pa si PNOCEC. That's why we bought the first cargo. And then there's a second cargo coming in. So,
Ko po tinatanong yung ilang cargo. Simple question. If the DOE says that all it needs is congressional approval and the PNOC has the funds, and you said that the letters were sent because it is important that the people know that letters are not sitting in the Senate without action. We would know if there is a letter that is deemed urgent. Kasi wala ang inyong DOE secretary eh. Wala dito eh. E nandito siya last week. Sinabi ba niya sa chairman ng Energy? Sinabi ba niya sa leadership sa Senado? Wala. Ang kanyang linalabi yung biofuel. Sinabi ba yan? Because this is so urgent. It did not come from us. It came from the DOE. May I just know the date? Sir, I know you're a technical person and you seem very knowledgeable. I just need to know, it's an admin matter. Can we kindly put on record after this presentation, Mr. Chair, just bear with me, so that hindi ang itsura nakapending sa Senado, tapos sasabihin nyo, kasi po nag-break, excuse me, hindi po nag-break ang Senado na hindi inaaksyonan ang hinihiling ng executive. Dalawa ang inyong hiningi. Excise tax, napasa namin. At sabihin nyo on the record, kailan nyo mai-implement yan, at ang gulo ninyo. Sinabi nyo, excise tax, kailangan urgent. Nung napasa namin, sinabi, we will see. Yan, galing sa inyo yan ha, kung gagamitin. Tapos, the next day, o sige na nga. Ano ba? Ano ba? Kailangan ba? Hindi. It was deemed urgent, napasa. Tapos, pagkapasa namin, we will see. I'm quoting the executive, nang galing sa inyo yan. Tapos ngayon, gagawin na. And cite the impact, mararamdaman pa. Yun ang sabi ng chair no, ni Senator Pia. Ano ang ramdam sa pagbaba o pagkaltas ng excise tax? Yung biofuel, maraming concern sa mga coconut and sugar farmers. Pero itong sinabi niyong low-hanging fruit, congressional approval. Tapos nagsabi po kayo, sir, with all due respect kasi po nag-break. Hindi po magandang pakinggan yan. Hindi po mag-break ang Senado kung sinabi niyong kailangan ng congressional approval ang paggamit ng PNOC ng kanilang pondo. Pakilagay po sa record after your presentation and we give a chance to the others, Mr. Chair. Because it's important na hindi tinuturo sa atin na nag-break tayo kaya ang PNOC hindi makagamit ng kanyang pera. That's unfair. Ang secretary nga ninyo wala dito Kung anong pamumulitik ang ginagawa na naman ng secretary nyo.
Break tayo session pero tuloy-tuloy pa ho yung aming hearing.
Yes, of course.
At kung kailangan po mag-convene, ready naman po magkaroon ng
Yes.
special session at any time,
So,
no?
it's important.
So-
When did you give the letter, Kasi, alam nyo, hindi pwedeng tinuturo-turo nyo kami. Hindi nyo pwedeng sinasabi, makinig kayo. Huwag kayo nagpapalusot dito, Sinasabi nyo, yung letter na sa inyo Tapos nag-break kayo. Double jeopardy. Hindi pwede yun. Sorry, hindi po kami papayag nun. Kung alam po namin, hindi kami mag-break, tama po ang chair. Kaya mo nga, mag-break. Gusto nyo, Holy Week, magtrabaho tayo dito Darating natin ang secretary. Burn the midnight candle. Walang labasan sa kwarto hanggang hindi nakita ang pagtulong sa itang tao. Pero wag niyong sasabihin na nag-break kami kaya hindi napasa yung hiniling ng DOE na congressional approval. Hindi po, sir. Hindi niyo kasalanan yon kasi wala ang inyong sekretarya. I can't think of anything more important than this hearing convened by the chair. And if the other cabinet members are here, why could the most important department not be present? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And may I reiterate, Secretary Yusek Fentabella, na kung pwede namang ipagpaliban muna ni Secretary Garin yung kanyang mga meetings, tingin ko hanggang mamaya pa tayo dito. After her Malacanang meeting, mas magandang pumunta ho siya dito. No? Pakisabi na lang ho sa kanya. Pinadala niya sa akin yung mga schedule niya. Tingin ko naman mas mahalagang makausap niya ngayon ang taong bayan para marinig sa kanya mismo kung ano yung kanyang mga plano kung sakaling mawala talaga tayo ng langis. No? So, okay. Go ahead. Can you...
Okay. Apologies, Your Honors. Just to clarify, when it was mentioned that a letter was sent, it was for a future action. But we commend definitely the action of the Congress on what we requested. Now, when we saw that there is a need for us to shift, that is a further action. Pero na-trigger na naman po yung dati nating ginawa. And secondly, on this one, may nakita lang po kami another improvement. That's why we immediately sent the letter. But that was just yesterday po. So it's definitely unfair for the Senate to be on the record na naka-break. Pero apologies. But we certainly just want to place it on record that we are doing all this and immediately forwarding our observations to the Senate or to the House. Yung mga nasabi po ni Yusek Sales, yung mga iba po doon ay for future action. The trigger, even though we needed to shift, na-trigger na rin po naman siya. So, ang sinasabi lang po natin, paano po ba tayo may improve moving forward? And also for the PNOC, there are funds available. But how do we improve further? Yun po, that's why we sent that letter yesterday, just to set the record straight po. And definitely, the Secretary will be informed po of the Chair's message. Thank you very much po.
Thank you so much to our dear friend Yusek Wimpy for clarifying that. It is important we put things on the proper perspective and accurate. Kasi pag soundbite lang, kailangan congressional approval. Pangalawa, kasi nag-break. Hindi pwede yon. Imposible naman namin hindi inaksyonan. Kahapon lang pala. Pero we can take things into consideration if it's deemed urgent or can it wait until May. As the chair has said, naghihiring naman tayo. Kaya lang, ito po, Mr. Chair, may tanong kami ni Sen Kiko, hindi namin makita binasa po ng DOE yung mga urgent contingency plan. Ang pagkaintindi po namin, work from home at carpooling. So, ano ba ho ang top 3 na pinakamahalaga na ginawa ng DOE para maibsan ang pagtaas ng presyo ng petroleum products at matulungan lahat ng sektor? Kasi ang narinig namin yung carpooling at saka yung work from home eh. Hindi naman po yun emergency situation lang. Marami pang ibang dapat na mararamdaman po ng tao. Hindi namin makita yung iba. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, siya ngayon po ang presyo ng diesel is 120.95 average po. From 55 pesos pre-crisis level. Ibig sabihin tumaas po ng 120%. Bakit po kaya?
Mr. Chair, the increase is basically because we are an importing country. We don't have any refinery. We don't have indigenous resources. Or very, very minute lang. And if Mr. Chair, if you allow me, our fuel, our pump price, more or less, ang fuel cost niyan is about more than half, mga 50+%. Tapos meron kang logistics, ang margin ng companies, pero our tax is about 25%, Mr. Chair.
Hindi, alam po natin yun, ma'am. Ang tinatanong ko, bakit po 120% ang itinaas? Ano po ang explanation?
Mr. Chair, the upward push is because of the cost, the price of fuel, Mr. Chair, and because there's a increase in price of fuel, and then there's uncertainty in the infrastructure of the oil industry internationally. Yung logistics tumaas, tapos yung insurance tumaas na rin kasi natatakot na rin silang magpagamit ng vessel nila or crossing that traversing, no? So tumaas lahat. That's a component, all the logistics, insurance, mga lahat po, Mr. Chair.
Did the government initiate an inquiry, for example, from the oil players, kung yung 120% is reasonable?
Mr. Chair, we have talked to the oil companies and we constantly monitor their prices and also the international prices and also all the trend on the logistics and insurance. Tumataas talaga and it within range naman yung increase ng pump prices natin, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, ang ibig ko sabihin, nung sinabi po nila na talagang ganito ang itataas, 120%, did we take their statement as gospel truth right away?
Mr. Chair, how it is it's a deregulated industry. So ang monitoring ng DOE lang yung ginagawa niya on checking what their prices as. Yes, sir. It is within the range na kinakalculate din ng DOE, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, kasi po, ang alam ko, ang pinakamalaking refinery sa buong mundo, yung Rotterdam refineries. At meron po yan mga tangke na nakabalagbag sa Singapore. Marami po yan. Pati Petronas po, the second largest in the world, may mga tangke po siya sa Singapore. Nag-check po kasi ako, Mr. Chair. Halimbawa po, yung sa Rotterdam refinery, kung halimbawa FOB price po, $570 per metric ton. Ang isang metric ton po is 1,180 liters. So kinuwento ko po yon, kasama na po yung itinatawag silang MAPS, yung means of Platts Singapore, which is $1.71. Yung 15 po, ito yung transport, ano? i-multiply natin ng 60 pesos, ito po yung peso to $1 at dinivide ko ng 1,180 para po makuha natin yung landed cost. Alam po niyo, it's only $29 at 29 pesos 83 centavos. Kapag sinama po natin, kahit hindi natin alisin ang excise, VAT, may importation, distribution, storage, broker fees, SGS survey, 2% CME, ito po yung coconut methyl, at saka VAT differential, which is actually 15 pesos and 51 cents. 45 pesos lang po yun eh. So, ang sinasabi ko po, Mr. Chair, bakit hindi po tayo, kasi po narinig ko, sinasabi nyo kanina, nakipag-usap kayo sa South Korea, nakipag-usap kayo sa China, nakipag-usap kayo sa Japan. Bakit hindi po ang gawin ng PNOC, direkta po tayong pumunta, magitan ng vessel natin, magpakarga tayo sa Singapore. O hindi po dadaan nyo ng Strait of Hormuz.
Mr. Chair, yun po yung ginagawa ng PNOC. We are actually directly contacting possible suppliers in the US, South America, and North America. Lahat po, in-explore naman yan eh. But on average talaga na, ang gusto namin mag-diversify para hindi lang galing dito sa Middle East yung source natin. Pero ang isang issue din na why there's a limitation on the US source or on the other side, medyo 30-45 days kasi yung delivery. So may mga logistical but based on what are the offers to us, kasi fina-farm out yun yung offer ng PNOC, ang mga presyo, Mr. Chair, abot ng mga $200 per barrel eh.
Madabag sinasabi ko po, ay yung mga tangke na nandun sa Singapore. Dalawang malalaking refinery sa mundo, Rotterdam Refinery at saka yung Petronas ng Malaysia. Pareho po silang may tangke. Kapag ka po ang pinag-usapan natin, yung Petronas Malaysia Refinery, yun po CIF, hindi POB. Kaya $640 per metric ton. Alam po niyo yung kwenta ko ron, 32 pesos and 63 centavos. Isama natin po yung additional cost. Huwag na po natin ialisin ang excise, VAT, and so on and so forth. 15.51, ang magiging presyo, mahal lang ng konti, 48 pesos per liter. Bakit po sinasabi natin, kinakausap natin ang Amerika o sa Caribbean, kung ano man yung gusto nyo kausapin, South Korea, or ang sinasabi ko po, nasa Singapore po yung mga tangke. Pwede po nating i-dispatch ang diesel natin, diesel tank transaction lang po pinag-uusapan natin eh. Nakapagtanong po ako sa kaibigan sa mga industry sa Singapore, kaya ko po nakuha itong ganitong mga data, kaya po tinatanong ko sa inyo, paano po nangyari? Ang sabi ng Pangulo 2 weeks ago, meron po tayong about 50 to 60 days. 2 weeks lang po nangyari. Meron pa po tayong stock. Bakit sumipa po ng 120%? Yun po yung tinatanong ko. Nag-react po lahat ang ating mga sektor. Agriculture, transport, lahat na po. Kaya nga po yung 230 billion na sinasabi ng ng DBM na gano'n na eh. Ang tinatanong ko lang po, bakit po tayo napunta sa 120% kagad? Bakit naging 110? 120 pesos ang average po ng liter ng diesel. At yung po namang gasolina, 62%. Bakit hindi po natin tinanong man lang, bakit po nagkaganon? Akala ko po ba tinitingnan natin? Ano po ba yung explanation dito?
Mr. Chair, ang presyo talaga ng international nag-increase eh. And we will check the vessels na mini-mention ni Senator Marcoleta. But based on sa mga information na nakuha namin sa mga nag-o-offer sa PNOC and also from our oil companies, may malaking increase talaga both on diesel and gasoline at 101%. Tama ba to? Ang increase niya for the past 3 weeks, 101% and 182% for diesel. But we'll check for the other sources, Mr. Chair, kung baka iba yung arrangements nila, Mr. Chair.
Sir, hindi ko po alam kung saan nila kinukuha yung gasolina. Baka ang pinag-uusapan po natin, ang gagaling ba lahat sa Persian Gulf? Hindi po yun ang usapan eh. Kahit na isara po yung Strait of Hormuz, ang pinag-uusapan is Persian Gulf. Sabi nga nila 20% ang apektado. Paano po yung Suez Canal? Bukas naman po yun. Pero wag na po natin pag-usapan yun. Ang sinasabi ko po ay yung mga tangke na nakapondo sa Singapore. Napakarami po niyan. Petronas Refinery at saka yung pong Rotterdam Refinery. Bakit wala mo pong makapag-explika sa DOE? Bakit hindi po tayo doon dumiretso?
Mr. Chair, ang Singapore kasi trading yan eh. And then those mga nakalutang lang ng mga barko dyan, yun po yung mga binibenta ng mga traders tsaka yung mga refineries po. So ganun po yung presyo pa rin na offer po sa amin ng mga traders. We've talked to several already international traders na dumadaan ng Singapore. And same pa rin yung presyo na binibigay sa amin. But we'll recheck, Mr. Chair.
I am sorry, Mr. Chair, pero yung mga data nasa akin po eh. Kasi-check ko lang po kagabi. Sa totoo lang. Kagabi po ay 495 pa nga po eh. Per metric ton. Idagdag po natin ang shipping na $15. At saka yung 1.71. Ito nga po yung yung gross margin po eh. 8 pesos and 46 centavos. May margin pa nga po eh. Dito po sa Rotterdam Refinery, ang margin is 4 pesos and 64 cents. Pagka sa Petronas naman po, ayun, halos may konti pa rin kita. 1 peso and 85 cents. Pero hindi, nakakapagtaka, bakit po sumipa ng 110 to 130 pesos per liter? Bibigay ko po sa inyo yung data na nakuha ko. Nagtanong lang po ako sa mga kaibigan sa industry sa Singapore. Kabisado po nila ito eh. Bibigyan ko po kayo ng isang... ang tinatanong ko po, bakit nagsimula tayo na tinanggap natin kagad 110 pesos to 130 pesos na upo ngayon ng ang average nga 120 pesos na ang diesel, tinanggap na lang natin ang ganun. What happened? Wala po bang halimbawa, Secretary Balisacan, wala po ba tayong kakilala halimbawa mga industries sa Singapore? Nandun po lahat yung kanilang mga tangke. Pwede po nating makita, kahit kayo po, tanong ninyo kung magkano ngayon. Nahawak ko po yung mga data eh. 29 pesos and 83 cents. Rotterdam Refinery tanks based in Singapore. Petronas, 32 pesos and 63 centavos. May kita pa po eh. Paano po nangyari biglang sumipa ng 110 from 55 pesos for example, naging 110. Kaya po nagkaroon po tayo ng crisis. Parang imagine po yung crisis. Ang tinatanong ko po sa DOE, meron po bang nagkaroon po ba tayo ng inquiry? Pinatawag po ba natin ang mga oil companies?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we've been meeting with the oil company several times. Ang presyo, sinusundan yung maps. And then ang the rest, Mr. Chair, umi-increase yung logistics tsaka yung insurance. Pero yung premium po, Mr. Chair, for you to be able to purchase a supply, dati po mga $5 to $10 lang yan. Ngayon po mga $60 na. So umaakyat talaga lahat, Mr. Chair.
Ang sinasabi po ninyo, Madam Secretary, Mr. Chair, ay yung pong panganib na dadaan po kayo sa Strait of Hormuz. Ang pupuntahan po natin Singapore, ang layo naman po sa Strait of Hormuz noon eh. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo?
Yes, Mr. Chair. No, it's not a Strait of Hormuz na we are just getting products also from Singapore and all Southeast Asian countries, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, ang aking gustong i-discuss, at alam ko ito po ang naintindihan naman ng DOE. Ito po dahil sa sinasabi natin may crisis na, tank to vessel procedure na po ang pinag-uusapan natin. Yung ating pong, ang ating vessel, siya na po yung lalapit doon sa tangke sa Singapore. Hindi po ba nyo alam mga procedures? Nasa akin yung procedures, nakuha ko kung paano po natin mapapadali ito eh. Ayun po yung FOB price, $570 per metric tons. Rotterdam Refinery, tanks based in Singapore. Yung Petronas naman po, 640 dahil hindi FOB yun, CIF. Eh, kukwentahin po natin lahat ang mga local add-on, kagaya po na sinasabi ninyo, 15 pesos, 51 centavos lang per liter yun. Kahit idagdag po ninyo yun, sa 55 pesos, may kita pa po eh. Kaya tinatanong ko po, paano po tayo napunta sa 110?
Mr. Chair, we will recheck the data and will if we can get the data from the good senator also. But ang lahat po na orders, halos marami po na orders, gumagaling talaga ng Singapore kasi yun isa sa mga pinakamalaking trading company. But in our computations, talagang ganun po yung presyo. Kasi kahit kunin mo doon, mahihirapan ka rin maghanap ng sarili mong vessel kasi nag-aagawan ngayon. And then the vessel is more expensive now. The premium of the insurance is really, really very expensive. And there's a premium for you to be able to buy, which is from $5 became $60. So lahat po na component nandyan yan. Hindi po ganun kadali na papadala lang ng vessel because we don't have any vessels actually to send to them because it's very difficult now. Pero Mr. Chair, I'll direct our team that are doing the purchasing and check the Rotterdam supply in Singapore, Mr. Chair.
Sir Chair, sino po ba nagsabing napakahirap pumanap ng vessel? Sino po nagsabi sa inyo? Sino nag-advise sa inyo? Napakahirap pumanap ng vessel para kumuha ng supply sa mga tangke sa
Mr. Chair, marami kasi nagbebenta po sa PNOC na sa atin yung transport and that's the most difficult part that they've been trying to find, Mr. Chair.
Yun po bang mga players natin, ganun din ang kanilang sinasabi sa inyo? I'm not talking about the PNOC. Sa atin po yun eh.
Yes, Mr. Chair, they were the first ones actually that flagged this, Mr. Chair.
Yung ating mga players, sinabi po nila na napakamahal po dun sa Singapore. Did you check the FOB price in Singapore as we speak?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have been checking actually Singapore and all the other countries.
Di nga po, nasa akin na po eh. FOB and CIF, both Petronas and Rotterdam refineries.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have checked also on that, Mr. Chair.
So pareho po tayo ng presyo.
No, Mr. Chair.
Saan po nyo kinukuha yung presyo ninyo? Ito nga yung sinasabi ko, dapat po nagkaroon ng inquiry man lang. Kung halimbawa, sinabi ng mga players ganito, kaya nga tanong ko po, did we take those as gospel truth? Paano po natin chinek?
Mr. Chair, this is based on also on the maps as we have prescribed how the computations will be, and also, Mr. Chair, on the experience of PNOC in
Secretary, ang maps po is only $1.71. Sinasabi ko na po ito eh. Kanina po yung presentation kanina, yung Dubai plots. Hindi po relevant yun because we are not getting something else sa Dubai. Ang sinasabi ko, Singapore lang. I'm trying to direct the conversation to Singapore. Nandun po yung mga tangke ng dalawang refineries. Pwede po ninyong check-in ngayon. Yung sinasabi, kung totoo yung sinasabi ko, hindi. Anyway, Mr. Chair, I don't want to belabor this. Alam ko, makukuha nyo naman. Mamaya, bibigay ko po yung data ko sa inyo para lang matapos tayo. Gusto ko lang po magtanong kay Secretary Kakdak. Secretary, tungkol po doon sa pinag-usapan natin, I think that was about 10 days ago, nung tumawag sa akin ng Secretary ng Bahrain, was the ambassador at saka yung labat, dahil nagkaroon po yata ng kung hindi, parang miscommunication, nung inyo pong interview sa DCMM yata, nasabi ninyo na ang ibinibigay doon sa mga distress na OFWs doon sa Bahrain is $200 po ang nasabi ninyo. Ngayon po, medyo nagkagulo po, pumunta sa embassy yung mga na-distress nating o displaced nating mga manggagawa. Eh, ang binibigay pala is only 20 dinars, katumbas lang ng about $50 to $53. Kaya nagkagulo po, sa akin po tumawag yung ambassador. Hindi ko po alam kung bakit niya nakuha yung number ko. Alas 10 ng gabi sa atin, alas 5 ng hapon sa kanila. Kaya mabuti naman, nakausap po kayo, nasa airport pala kayo noon, hindi nyo naman ako binalikan. Ano po bang nangyari doon? Naayos po ba yun? Kasi ang
Opo.
pagkakaalam ko, tinanggal pa yata yung labat. Nag-report lang, pero siya pang tinanggal. Totoo po ba yun?
Yes, that same night po, Mr. Senator, nag-Zoom Philcom po kami at doon napaliwanag na una, talagang 20 BD yung binigay nung araw na yon at pangalawa, rinirepaso po yung rates at yun po yung sinasagawa namin ngayon. Babalikan po namin sila, Sen, kasi ang intention namin ay taasan, higitan pa sa 20 BD at yun po ang sinasagawa natin ngayon. Babalikan natin sila. In the meantime, nagbukas na po yung ating repatriation effort out of Bahrain. Around 200 po ang naitawid sa Causeway at patuloy lang po yung repatriation effort natin Mr. Senator. Yun pong na-recall is yung administrative staff na nasangkot po sa isang viral video kung saan ay naging highly disrespectful po siya sa ilang OFW leaders who were outside the embassy premises. Kaya't sa ngayon po, we are subjecting him to an investigation. He is back home.
Senator
Hindi po yung labor
Marcoleta,
attaché, Mr.
Your time is up, but you can have one or few more questions.
Secretary, kasi kaya lang naman sila parang kinabahan dahil papunta lahat ang mga tao doon at yun ang gusto nilang mapigil dahil ang pagkakaalam nila, dahil yung sinabi po nyo sa DCMM yata o DCME, $200 per person at 1,200 na ang nabigyan nyo nung araw na yun. Kaya po, nakiusap sila na sana magkaroon kayo ng clarification. Wala silang matawagan sa opisina nyo, bigla na lang ako po yung natawagan, hindi ko nga alam paano lang ako yung number. Ayos po ba yun? Kasi ang alam nila 20 dinars lang, pero $200 po kasi ang sinabi nyo, kaya nagkagulo po sila. Yun po yung tinatanong nila at hindi nyo naman ako binalikan kung naayos yun kasi parang nangangamba po sila sa araw na yun, baka daw po guluhin sila ng mga distress workers.
Sen, pasensya na po, hindi ko kayo nabalikan but rest assured, right after your call, nagpa-convene po ako ng virtual Filipino community at ako'y humingi ng paumanhin at naipaliwanag ko po na nagkamali po ako nung sinabi kong 1,200 US dollar. Yung $200 para ho doon yun sa umuwi. So yung 200 for instance na tinawid sa Causeway, $200 po ang natanggap nun. Pero bagamat ganon, Sen, Mr. Senator, pinag-aaralan ho namin ang figures at ang direksyon po ng aming isasagawa is mas mataas sa 20 BD. Ibig sabihin, babalikan po namin yung mga nabigyan ng 20 BD para dagdag yung anumang level yung nakita naming sapat. At rest assured, Mr. Senator, naayos po natin on the same day in terms of pagpapaliwanag at paghingi ng paumanhin, naayos po natin sa mga Filipino community leaders on the same day na tumawag kayo. Pasensya na po, hindi ko lang na kayo nabalikan. Pero right after your call, I immediately asked the Labat to convene a virtual Filipino community meeting. Mga 8 p.m. Filipino time po yun nung nagkaroon kami ng virtual
Salamat,
meeting.
Secretary. Isa na lang, boss, kung pwede.
Pwede po.
Yun po kasing sinabi nyo, Chairman, kanina, yung pagka ganitong namumuo ang krisis, kung talagang ang may krisis, Secretary Yusek Tubimpi, kung talaga nga, dapat talaga yung lahat ng agency merong isang contingency plan, comprehensive. Tama naman po yun. Di ba, Secretary Balisacan, dapat kayo po yung nanguna nun. Kasi kayo naman ang planning talaga eh. Yung centralized approach po, para sa ganun, hindi nangangapa ang bawat isa. Okay lang naman pong mag-report na bawat isang mga ahensya, mga secretaries natin. Pero mas maganda po kung halimbawa, bago sila mag-report, nagkaintindihan na sapagkat meron kayong well-functioning integrated and comprehensive approach. Kasi crisis na po ito eh. Mabuti na nga, kahit papaano nakita natin ang mga department secretaries na adept naman sila under the circumstances. Lalo na po yung aking kaibigan na Rex Gatchalian na medyo tumaba po ngayon. Hindi ko nga alam bakit tumaba ka naman ng ganyan. Paano ka pa makakapag-asawa pag ganyan? Salamat po. Kapatid niyo po yata siya. Salamat po.